I woke up late for school, and I had no idea how I managed to sleep through the noise of 200 clocks in my room. Seriously, why do I even have that many clocks? I can't remember anything from last night, and to my surprise, I'm still in my clothes. It seems like I crashed so hard that only the loud music of Huey Lewis and the news could shake me awake. That music is really something. In a hurry, I rushed downstairs, and guess what? My sister and brother, who are usually pretty lazy, were already at the breakfast table. Well, I'm not completely sure if both of them were there. It might have just been my mom. It's a bit fuzzy. Anyway, one of them mentioned that the pickup truck was damaged. What a morning! Biff, the hefty guy, wrecked the pickup, and he's outside blaming my dad for it. Dad's just silently taking the blame while Biff rants, as per usual. The damaged pickup was crucial for my plans with Jennifer this weekend. We were supposed to go on a camping trip, and things were looking promising. Now, it seems like those plans are ruined, thanks to Biff's carelessness and my dad's unwillingness to confront him. It's disappointing to see the key to a good time all smashed up. I was hoping to spend time with Jennifer, but that might not happen now. Hopefully, we can fix things and salvage the weekend, but it's not looking too great at the moment. I started my day thinking I was heading to school, but then it hits me. Did I go to Doc's house instead? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I did, maybe not until later. Anyway, I'm pretty skilled on the skateboard, hitching rides on cars and buses to reach school. Once there, I have to break some not-so-great news to Jennifer, who handles it really well. While talking to Jennifer, a teacher, whose name escapes me, does something pretty mean, grabbing my hair or ear. He calls me McFlea to take a shot at my dad from when he was in this school. It's quite embarrassing, and seriously, that's my dad. Totally uncalled for. Later in the afternoon, I attend auditions for who knows what, and guess who's on the judging panel? None other than Huey Lewis from Huey Lewis and the News. Can you believe it? He plays it cool, and it seems like no one else recognizes him. I just go with the flow. But what are the chances, right? I give it my all, and I'm genuinely good. I mean, really good. Yet Huey acts like he's messing with me. He says something like, "No, it's too loud," or along those lines. It's a bit baffling, considering he could have totally used my tune. I was exhausted from the day, longing for the comfort of my bed after a series of tiring moments. The weariness weighed heavily on me, but amidst it, a memory flashed in my mind. In the morning, Doc, a mysterious person with unclear ties to my life, had called unexpectedly. His request was simple but strange, an invitation to his place after school. I was trying to find my way through the maze of streets to get to Doc's house. I was feeling doubtful about why he had invited me, a teenager, over. As I got closer to his house, I wondered what kind of person would do that without a clear reason. His house looked normal on the outside, like any other in the suburban neighborhood. But I had a feeling there was something mysterious about him that the neighborhood didn't seem to notice. When I went into Doc's place, I saw a lot of messy and creative stuff in his garage. There were bits and pieces of many experiments scattered around. Right in the middle of the organized mess was what Doc was super into. A machine he said could travel through time. The surprising news hit me like a confusing surprise, like finding something unlikely in the middle of everyday life. My doubts started to fade, replaced by a hesitant interest. Doc, an older person with a gleam in his eye, invited me to understand something hard to believe. His excitement was catchy, drawing me into a world where normal rules seemed like they could be bent. Doc showed me his idea. In his garage, he set up a small version of the town, like a tiny world ready for a time shakeup. The key to making this happen was a car, a regular-looking one meant for some incredible adventures. The catch for time traveling? The car had to hit a speed of 88 miles per hour, a number that seemed important for no clear reason. Throughout the day, a big event started to take form. Doc, driven by a passion that ignored normal limits, was all set to show off his time travel invention later that night. The urgency in his voice hinted at a significant revelation, a major unveiling that needed someone to see it happen. So it was up to me, a teenager stuck in the whirlwind of an old inventor's oddity. Doc wanted someone to film his time travel adventure, a person to capture the extraordinary in the ordinary. The idea of documenting a time travel experiment was like a strange twist in my usual everyday life. As night arrived, I headed to an odd meeting place. A mall, usually a hub for shopping, now turned into the setting for a scientific show. The clock moved closer to midnight, the time when the usual world gave in to something extraordinary. The mall, lit with dim lights that gave it a spooky feel, was ready for the meeting of the past and future. Doc showed up, clearly excited, his eyes shining with a mix of expectation and doubt. In the quiet of the night, the time-traveling car started up, its headlights cutting through the darkness like a doorway to something unknown. As the car sped up to the magical 88 miles per hour, time started to bend and twist. The model town turned into a mix of fast-changing images, a visual mix of moments all jumbled up. It was like watching a show that went beyond what makes sense, a meeting of science fiction and real life. I stood there with my camera, capturing the strange event. It was a special opportunity, a front-row seat to something that defied the usual rules of time. The air buzzed with excitement when the car hit 88 miles per hour. In that moment, reality seemed to break, and our usual way of seeing things was pushed to its limits. The model town turned into a flow of colors, showing how time itself could change shape. After everything settled from the time travel adventure, I stood there, trying to understand what I had just seen. The usual had mixed with something amazing, and Doc's garage had turned into the center of an experiment that defied reality. As I walked away from the mall that night, a feeling of disbelief stuck with me. The usual routines of everyday life seemed small compared to what I had just seen, a demonstration that went against the very nature of existence. Doc, the mysterious inventor, had brought me into a story that went beyond the limits of normal experiences. The trip home felt strange, like a journey through familiar streets with a new awareness. The night had unfolded like a chapter from a sci-fi story, and I, without intending to, got caught up in the plot. Back in my quiet room, I watched the footage on my camera. The images showed the mix of ordinary and extraordinary. The time-traveling car, the blurry scenes, and the feeling of wonder were all there in the recording. The experience made me think deeply. Life, the way I knew it, seemed like a routine and predictable pattern. Yet within the usual, there were moments of the extraordinary, times that didn't make sense and challenged what I understood. Doc's oddness, which I doubted at first, turned out to be a reason to broaden my understanding. The garage, full of inventions, became a door to places beyond normal thinking. The old man and his time travel machine broke the routine of my life, leaving me with a lasting feeling of amazement. As the night turned into morning, I thought a lot about what was real. Time, which I used to think couldn't change, now seemed flexible and open to negotiation. Doc's experiment sparked my curiosity, making me want to explore places that go beyond the usual limits of everyday life. In the days after that special night, the memory stuck with me like a dream, a strange break in my usual life story. Doc, the odd inventor, became a symbol of unstoppable curiosity and the search for extraordinary things. The everyday routines of school and social stuff seemed less important compared to the idea that maybe what I thought was real life was just a small part of a much bigger story. The time travel adventure with Doc made me see life in a new way. Mixing the usual and the extraordinary created a colorful and textured story. I realized that life is a series of moments, each with the potential to surprise and challenge how we see things. As I went through my normal days, I still felt the impact of that night. A night when an old man's invention took me into a fantastical world. The everyday turned extraordinary, and in a garage, I saw time itself unravel. Doc's journey taught me an important lesson. It's essential to embrace the unknown and go beyond what feels comfortable. The world is full of mysteries, and every day could bring an adventure that breaks the norms of the usual. All right, so I'm hanging out at the mall, trying to shake off the day. Turns out, Doc, this kind of crazy inventor dude needs plutonium to make his car work. And get this, he got it from some shady terrorist group. Crazy, right? Oh, and by the way, he's convinced this car can time travel. Yeah, time travel. Like in those sci-fi movies. My plans for a chill weekend got totally wrecked. Even Huey Lewis dissed my audition. And now I'm here dealing with Doc's wild ideas. But hey, why not go along with it? So I grab my video camera, sling it over my shoulder, and hit record while Doc spills the beans about his time-traveling dreams. And just when I thought things couldn't get crazier, a pickup truck shows up out of nowhere. And get this, it's got a machine gun, and some terrorists are running the show. Next thing I know, they start shooting at Doc. It's like a scene from an action movie. I'm there too, almost catching a bullet, but the gun jams. Lucky break, right? So in the heat of the moment, I decide to take action. I ditch my role as the cameraman, jump into the driver's seat of the car, and slam my foot on the gas pedal. I'm screaming across the mall parking lot, trying to escape this madness. And then bam, suddenly I'm not at the mall anymore. I look around, and it's not the mall, not even close. I'm on some dusty old road, and there's this ancient billboard blocking my view. Oh, and did I mention I was still wearing this goofy radioactive suit? Yeah, I forgot to throw that in earlier. So here I am, stuck in the middle of who knows where with a dead-as-a-doornail car. No malls, no familiar places, just me, the suit, and this silent road. I decide to push the useless car behind the billboard for now. It's like I stepped into a whole different world. The car, which was supposed to be this time-traveling wonder, is now just a hunk of metal on the roadside. As I stand there, taking in the bizarre situation, it hits me. Doc's experiment went way off the rails. The excitement of the time-traveling plan turned into a crazy shootout. And now I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere. The whole thing feels like a mix of a bad movie and a wild roller coaster ride. The dusty road stretches out in front of me, inviting me to explore the unknown. It's like a blank page waiting for a story to unfold. I look back at the car, the silent witness to this unexpected twist in my weekend plans. The radioactive suit, once a quirky detail, now feels like a strange companion in this unplanned adventure. There's a strange mix of emotions, fear of the unknown, uncertainty about what comes next, but also a weird excitement. It's like being part of a story that no one could have predicted. The familiar routines of the mall are replaced by the quiet solitude of this forgotten road. I realize life can throw unexpected surprises. Doc's quirks and the crazy turn of events turned an ordinary day into a story of unexpected twists. The usual stuff turned into something extraordinary, and here I am, dealing with the aftermath of a chaotic experiment. Taking a deep breath, I decide to go beyond the plan. The car might be kaput, and my laid-back weekend plans might be ruined, but there's something oddly freeing about not knowing what's next. The dusty road becomes my way, and the adventure goes on, step by step. So, there you have it. A day that started with simple plans at the mall and ended up on a dusty road with a broken car. Life, they say, is full of surprises, and sometimes you just have to go with it. Who knows what's waiting around the corner? The only way to find out is to keep moving forward, even if it means pushing a useless car and wearing a radioactive suit in the middle of nowhere. Okay, I find myself in what seems like the wildest experience of my life. I'm not sure if it's the same stuff the old man gave me earlier or something totally different. It feels like I've walked into a weird dream, and now I'm just roaming around, trying to figure out what's going on. Well, now I come across this old farmhouse. I think it's a good idea to knock on the door and see if someone can help me make sense of all this madness. But then it hits me. None of the barn and billboard stuff has happened yet. It turns out, I drove right into this farm family's barn, waking them up. Quite an entrance, I must say. I'm there in my radioactive suit, trying to explain, when the crazy old man notices me from afar. Without thinking, he fires a shot from his shotgun. Panic sets in, and I dash back into the barn, straight into the car. I hit the gas, crashing through the barn door like it's made of cardboard. I zoom past the old guy and his family, barely dodging another shotgun blast. Third time's the charm, they say. And then, well, I find myself exactly where I left off in the paragraph above. The car is done for. As daylight breaks, I decide to ditch the radioactive suit and start walking toward what I hope is the town. Surprise, surprise. I stumbled upon the same town, but something's off. It's like a trip to the past. Everyone is dressed like it's the 50s, and the whole town is playing along. When is this weird trip going to wear off, I wonder? But wait, there's more to this crazy story. I totally forgot about the black mayoral candidate. And there he is when I walk into a diner. It feels like I've entered a time warp, and it's like I'm in a movie. Then things get confusing with the timeline. I meet the candidate first, then my younger dad, or maybe the other way around. It gets even crazier when I see my dad being bullied by a younger Biff, a real pain. So, I decide to mess with Biff's plans. Next thing I know, Biff is chasing me around town in a 50s car, and I'm on some makeshift skateboard. Don't ask, I can't explain it myself. It's like a weird chase scene from a movie, and I wonder if I've somehow become part of a plot I've seen before. Finally, Biff crashes into a manure truck, and he and his buddies end up covered in cow dung. Not something you see every day. Now, I'm starting to question how much I remember from a certain movie. It's like I'm in Back to the Future, and everything feels oddly familiar. It's kind of weird. I realize if I keep going, I might end up telling the whole story scene by scene. So I'm putting the brakes on this wild story. It's time to step back and think about what just happened. Maybe this is a dream, or maybe I'm stuck in some time loop. Either way, I need to sort it out and figure out what's real and what's just a crazy illusion. Until then, we met next time. Try to make sense of this mind-bending adventure. Hope you enjoyed this imaginative journey. Subscribe for more interesting stories.